Hi guys, my name is Alana Hess, and my project here is on depression. Bear with me, I'm pretty sick today, got the winter sniffles, but I'm sure we can get through this. Alrighty, so what depression is? It's not feeling sad or having the blues or something small like that. It's a serious problem and can have a huge effect on people's lives. Depression can cause people to feel hopeless, helpless, empty, tearful. It can just have such a huge effect on people's lives that people are not realizing as a clinical real problem. People with depression will have really high highs in life. The good times are really good. But when you get to the low times, the bad times, they're so drastically low that a lot of people don't think they can handle it and they turn to darker places such as hurting themselves or others. So with symptoms, as we talked about, hopelessness is a very common symptom. It'll have people feeling like they're very alone. Nothing will get better. It's a very all or nothing state of being. Another symptom is having little interest or pleasure in doing things. Something that would previously be fun or pleasurable for a person, such as playing a sport, going to work, being with family, playing an instrument. Once they have depression, that will no longer be fun for them, or they would have interest in that thing. It would take that away. Another symptom is agitation. This can be over small things, as seen in this picture. This woman is sleeping on the bus, and this woman next to her is extremely agitated by this, very annoyed, which something as simple as sleeping, or maybe she's snoring a little bit, maybe something as simple as that would not cause her to be so annoyed, except for that she has depression, so this is going to up that a little bit, even seeming as like a small thing. And another symptom can possibly be suicide. This is very important to me, especially as I went to a high school where someone at my school in my grade, my sophomore year, ended up killing herself. This had a lot to do with her undiagnosed depression and also cyberbullying. And it was really hard for me, my classmates, her family, her friends, everybody was affected. And I also had another brush with this with my sister, who was 15 at the time when she attempted to kill herself. And it was the scariest call of my life. My mom called me telling me that my sister took a bunch of pills and was being rushed to the hospital. I can't tell you how scary that is, but that made me realize that she had undiagnosed depression. She wasn't being treated for it, and she didn't feel like she could get help from anyone, so she went down the road of attempting to take her own life. That's a large reason why I wanted to do this project. It's because I wanted to learn more about this disorder myself, to learn and try to help her. So there are many treatment options with depression that a lot of people don't think about. One of those is therapy. You can go to a therapist at your school, such as San Jose State, or through your healthcare provider. And just to get help, just simply talking about your problems with someone who is with someone who is prescribed to help and knows how to help people with these issues can be extremely helpful and very beneficial for people who have depression. And another part is medications. There are different medications you can take. Personally, I have anxiety and depression, so I'm taking Zoloft, which is mainly an anti-anxiety medication, but also helps with depression. My sister is on Prozac, and that really seems to help her. But there needs to be a healthy balance of therapy and medication and just hard work on yourself to try to relieve this problem. Oops. So with current news and info, I did some research and I found a very interesting article on alcohol and cannabis effects on depression. And so this study found that there's a very strong correlation between the two. So the only question was, is it a symptom or is it a cause? So it was found that instead of, many people thought that people with depression turn to drugs and alcohol as a coping mechanism, but that is actually not the case. It shows that people who use cannabis and alcohol regularly are more likely to have depression. It was actually shown that teens who use marijuana daily are actually 5 times more likely to have depression than teens who don't use that. I thought this was very amazing of a study to see, because I always figured it was people who are already having these issues turn to substances. It was actually shown to be the other way around. Another big thing is technology, which I'm sure many people are suspicious about already. The person I talked about, Audrey, who killed herself my sophomore year of high school, dealt with some cyberbullying. Some pictures were going around of her exposed at a party, and that's what kind of sent her towards this path, thinking that it was hopeless, nothing was going to get better. She was so alone, and then ended up killing herself. So there's a lot of information on happiness and technology, and it's been shown that teens who use technology are less happy than teens who don't. And a big part of that is social media. Social media is something where people can post anything they want, and most likely people are posting the good things in life. You're not going to post when you have struggles in your day or when something bad happens, but you're going to post when you go on a fun vacation or something great happened to you that day. And this makes teens who are on social media regularly see everyone who's happy and everyone's having a great time, then they feel alone. So that makes them feel like no one else has problems, it's just them, and that gives them this sense of loneliness and despair. This is also more common in girls, just because girls are statistically more likely to spend time on social media than boys. And obviously with the rise of social media, this gives a rise in cyberbullying, because it's much easier for people to bully when you're behind the protection of an anonymous user or a computer screen. Another interesting study I saw was on green space. So this was talking about how people who live near nature parks or just in greener areas rather than urban cities are more likely to be in a better place mentally and emotionally. And people with depression typically get better when they move to a place that is more nature-based instead of city-based. So, to conclude this presentation, I really want to reiterate the fact that depression is treatable. This is not a terminal illness. It's only terminal if it goes undiagnosed. So if you know someone or you yourself are struggling, you or that person needs to know that help is an option and it's very treatable. There are a couple hotlines here. This first one is a counseling hotline, and the second one is a suicide hotline. They're open 24/7, 365 days a year, and I think they really need to be used, especially for people in this day and age. And I just want everyone to hopefully learn from this presentation. I hope you learned something, and I hope this could be applicable to you or someone else in your life. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.